Hey girl, have you ever woken up wrestling the thought of shaving your whole head bald and dyeing it platinum blonde instead of washing your hair? Because same. That was literally me this morning, and right when that heaviness tried to settle in, the Holy Spirit stepped right in and whispered, "Go wash your hair." It took everything in me to get out of that bed. Since he had already been prompting me about waking up with intentionality and taking care of myself in this season, I obeyed. But I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have the energy for the shower salon this morning, okay? So he led me to go to the kitchen sink like back in the day. And there I got into position, bent over the sink with the water running, the scalp being sanitized, him walking me through every water setting and every little detail. He literally told me what to wash my hair with and how many times to wash it. He even had me break it down into sections so that it wasn't overwhelming underneath the water are getting retangled. Y'all, when I say this wash day was chef's kiss, and one of my prayers had been, I had asked the Lord to help me to maintain my hair. And when I asked him this, he asked me, what is it that you don't like about doing your hair? And I was like, I don't like super long wash days. He was like, bet, this is how we work that out. And this day, I could literally see the intention that he had in answering my prayers, as long as I was faithful to listen to him and obey the steps that he provided. And honestly, it became one of the easiest, softest, most therapeutic wash days I've ever had in my whole life. When it was done, he directed me to a hairstyle I used to fall back on and secretly love. It's a simple slick back with a right side swoop. I always love the texture, the waves, the simplicity of it, and how my face looks snatched. And especially when I start doing my makeup and everything with it, it was always a head turner. I got so many compliments on it, and it just made me feel good about myself. So I sat down to do it, parting my hair, combing it back, smoothing it into place. And with each brushstroke, I felt the stress start lifting off my shoulders. I felt my mind quieting, and I started to wonder and listen about what the Lord was truly imparting into me in that moment, because something was shifting in me. And as my spirit settled, he began speaking to me about the people I'm called to in this next season, the people I'm assigned to love, to teach, to pour into, the people he's been preparing me for, even in the season I'm standing in right now. It's like he was giving me this holy boldness and transparency about what it really looks like to surrender, what it really looked like to serve on his ministerial team, what it really looked like to preach and teach the gospel at any moment, as long as he's calling, you answering, right? And y'all, as I got deeper into doing my hair, the Lord started ministering to me about faith, and not just my faith, but the faith of the people who would hear my voice. He started nudging me not to go live, but to go on my Instagram stories and really teach the necessity of having faith the way that he had gave it to me. And that's when it became clear. The enemy had tried to push me into a spiral of self-sabotage that morning. He wanted me to be impulsive. He wanted me to do something rooted in emotion instead of wisdom, because that initial thought, that urge to shave my head, let's call it what it was, self-mutilation, because I simply didn't want to wash my hair. This haircut was not rooted in careful consideration. It wasn't a healthy desire. It was just impulse born out of overwhelming frustration. When you're moving out of an old season and learning who you are in a new season, sometimes your flesh tries to hit reset in ways that don't honor the growth God is actually cultivating. But as I did my hair, a style that I love, a style that used to be connected to depressive cycles, honestly, he showed me we weren't repeating the past cycles, but there was a better way to do it. We weren't doing it the old way. We were doing it healthy this time. He actually showed me to moisturize my hair and moisturize my scalp, wash it, because usually when I did this style, it was on old, dirty, depressive, I don't want to do my hair time. But this time, there was no suffocating amounts of gel, just nourishment and stewardship. I even thought I didn't have any gel in the house when he presented this style to me, and the Holy Spirit literally said, there's gel in here, and he told me where to look, and there it was, child. That's when I realized he wasn't just telling me how to do my hair. He was teaching me how to show up for myself. Once I loved on myself, he immediately sent me to love on the people I was called to. Next thing I knew, child, I was on Instagram posting 30 slides, teaching the gospel with clarity and conviction. And the passage he took me to was in Matthew 9. Jesus moving from place to place, and everywhere he went, people's faith became the catalyst for their healing. He looked at the woman with the issue of blood and said, your faith has made you whole. He touched the eyes of the blind and told them, according to your faith, be it unto you. He raised a little girl who had fallen asleep. He encountered lepers, blind men, desperate people fighting to believe again. And in every single moment, he honored faith, pure belief, faith the size of a mustard seed. And at the end of all of these miracles, he turned to his disciples and says, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. In other words, once God restores you, once he strengthens you, once he ignites your faith, it was never meant to stay with just you. Healing is not the finish line. Healing is descending. And that's where it all hit me. It would have been impulsive this morning. If I would have chopped all my hair off, I would have ended up undoing the very growth that I've been praying for, that I have literally been seeking God for. Stay with me, because my hair journey has been prophetic. My hair is healthy now, hydrated, one length, no longer see-through, past my shoulders, not brittle, not breaking. I'm actually enjoying the hairstyles I'm doing. God has been talking to me through my hair for months now, showing me how to break cycles of damage, stagnation, and frustration. And here I was, one decision away from cutting off everything he had restored. If I would have done it, not only would I have set myself back physically and emotionally, I would have missed the assignment to minister faith to his people that day. Because yeah, I had the faith to believe God will grow my hair, but do I have the faith to believe that the same God can teach me how to steward what I prayed for? The same God who restored my hair can position me for restoration in every area. The same God who showed me how to nurture myself can use my voice to nurture a generation. And Holy Spirit began to show me that if you have faith for something as small as, Lord, show me how to care for my hair in a way that breaks generational cycles, then surely that same God can use your obedience to heal a nation. Faith for something small can become the spark for something massive, because faith is contagious. And that's why the enemy fights it so hard. Because if you ever realize that believing God in the small things is the doorway to believe in him for the impossible, you become unstoppable. So yes, I went from a damaging cycle of taking my frustration out on my hair to sitting down at the desk, slicking this bun back and preaching the gospel. Because that's what happens when you surrender the impulse and listen to the Holy Spirit. God restores you and then he sends you. If this encourages your spirit, remember, faith multiplies when we testify. So share this with one person who you know needs a faith transfusion.
Glory. So he is on his way to one daughter, my God, one daughter who is my God today, and another daughter sees him, and she presses through the crowd and reaches out and says, if I can just touch the hem of his garment, I shall be made whole. In verse 22 it says, but Jesus turned him about, and when he saw her, he said, daughter, be of good comfort, thy faith hath made thee whole. You don't have to touch me to be made whole. Your faith in me is what makes you whole. Your belief that I can do it is what made you whole. It was not these rags that I got on my body. It was the faith that you had to to come and see me in the flesh, to come and see me right here while I'm standing in this crowd. You didn't care that I was on my way to another destination. She just cared that he was in her neighborhood, that he was in her vicinity, because she saw the miracle worker on his way to work a miracle in somebody else's house. And she said, oh, if this crowd could just get out of my way. Oh, if he don't even have to look my way. If only I can touch his clothes. If only I can get to this hem. That if only was her faith in motion. Her feet started walking toward what her body believed in, what her mind believed in. Oh, Jesus, her belief system carried her through that crowd and to the hem of his garment. And she reached out, and Jesus could have kept walking, but because of her faith, he acknowledged her and he said, daughter. Not only did he acknowledge her, he guaranteed her a place in his family. He called her daughter when the doctors called her disgrace. Jesus. He called her daughter when the crowd called her unclean. He called her daughter, my God, today. Not only did the faith heal her body, the faith brought her to family. Not only did the faith heal her body, but her faith brought her to her father. Not only did the faith heal her body, but it grafted her into the spirit of adoption. Not only did the faith heal her body, it did something for her soul. My God, today, to hear Jesus call you daughter, oh Jesus, has to be one of the greatest things, oh Jesus, because a lot of people are going to hear, away from me, I never knew you, but in that circle, in that crowd, he said, daughter, your faith has made you whole. Woo! And I don't know about you, but it's something about being called a daughter of God that just does it for me. He turned around in that crowd. He felt power go out of his body. And he said, who touched me? And when he saw the woman, oh Jesus, he acknowledged her. He said, daughter, be of good comfort. Thy faith hath made thee whole. And the woman was made whole from that hour. My God, today. And y'all thought he forgot. He didn't forget, because he's on the move. He's tracking your faith. He's tracking your faith. He didn't stop with this woman in the crowd. He kept walking to the ruler's house.